Hello.
Bonjour.
Ciao.
And welcome back to my channel. My name's Tolu and I'm a second year medical student in Oxford. However, this video is not about me. I've brought my two friends on here to talk about their own degrees.
Friends.
Anyways, in case you're wondering why we're so close, it's because we're all in the same household, so, you know, we're still following the rules.
My name's Oliver. I do Philosophy and Theology. I'm second year.
Nice.
My name's Martha. I'm also a second year who also does Philosophy and Theology at Keble.
Wow, how uncanny.
It's almost like we're course mates.
No way.
It's almost like she's the only other course.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you who aren't aware, I'm going to get these guys to explain what their degree actually entails, because philosophy and theology, I would say, is a niche subject, but I don't think you'd say the same. So I'm going to hand it to you guys to explain what actually is your degree. So you can either, you know, talk amongst yourselves, take the lead, I don't know.
Wow, it's
What
like
is your
being in a
degree?
tutorial.
Oh my gosh.
Tutorial's on till tomorrow.
Please. Do you want?
Philosophy and Theology. Well, I can define theology for you.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Theos, study of God.
Oh god, that's pretentious, please.
Well, tell me that's not what it is like.
This video is just going to be them bickering back and forth.
Philosophy, on the other hand,
Wow.
that's like the study of
Stuff.
anything and everything,
Mm.
but nothing at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, for people, I guess, that don't know what, like, who have never studied philosophy, I get a lot of the stuff we study is like ethics, and we're going to do like a knowledge and reality unit next term. So yeah, it's that kind of thing. And then theology is more like, yeah, just study of religion and religious thought in general. So yeah, we do different specialities.
Yeah, because there's a big, not division, but there are more subsets within your degree that you can like
Yeah.
do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because I don't think you guys are studying the same things at this current moment in time, like in terms of
Not for theology. No.
yeah.
Yeah, but we do for philosophy.
Yes.
Okay.
So for philosophy, we both do ethics 103, which is just ethics in general. Like it's yeah, there's nothing specific. And then, but with theology, like you get a lot more choice. So I'm doing Buddhism at the moment, and you're doing
Christianity. I think Christian ethics and
ethics
the Bible.
on ethics.
Lots of ethics.
Lots of ethics.
Many
So I know
ethics.
what's right and wrong, what's good and bad.
Wow. Do you
Wow.
want to apply that to your real life then?
Are you trying to say that my life is good or bad?
I don't know.
I'd go for
Just
bad.
ignore me. Oh.
Anyway, before this goes on a certain route, let's move on to the next question. So why did you guys actually choose to study philosophy and theology here?
Because they don't do a pure philosophy paper at Oxford, and I didn't want to go to Cambridge.
Yeah, no, I was the same. Like, I didn't like the look of the philosophy course at Cambridge because someone told me it was very logic-y, and I was like, that's it. Yeah, exactly. I was like, that's a no from me.
What is logic, first of all?
Oh, logic is like, the thing is, I wish I could tell you.
Oh.
Logic is like language maths.
Yeah, language math. So it'll be like, it'll just be like a load of symbols and then letters, and then that like translates into like an English sentence, and then you have to like do some stuff with that.
Okay, so you guys chose, well, philosophy and theology shortened to Philphy here. You guys chose Philphy here. Where else did you apply, and what subjects did you apply for in terms of universities and like what their specific degree was?
So I applied to Durham with, I think it was pure philosophy. King's College, London. It was like a weird name for the thing. It was like philosophy, ethics, and religion, something on that lines. UCLA, not UCLA.
UCLA?
America!
UCL for pure philosophy. And what else?
There's one more.
Did you do like Warwick or something?
No, I think it was Manchester for philosophy as well.
I did pure philosophy for everything else. So for Warwick, also King's, but Ollie and I applied for different courses. Bristol and Birmingham. Birmingham was a bit of a last minute choice because I was panicking I was going to do very badly. Not that Birmingham's a bad university, but I knew... No, I knew that they would give me quite a low offer.
Like a safety net.
Yeah, so that's why I applied to both Birmingham and Bristol, because I knew their offers were lower. And actually Birmingham gave me unconditional. So I was like, oh, you know, just in case. But like, I would have been happy at either one.
That's good. In terms of your applications to all of these universities, what extra things did you do to help with your application? Like extracurriculars, things that you were interested in? Because like it's different for me. I just want to know, like, and I'm sure like the others want to know what sort of things you guys did for your own applications for uni.
Well, the application which will be the same for both of us. We handed it into every university was sort of like the Oxford, Cambridge, like personal statement and application, to the degree where it's like, well, at least for me, lots of like reading of different things, particularly books and subjects which are related to things that you want to study. Like I read a book on logic, which was a mistake, but I did it, I wrote it. Apparently that got me some pointers, must have done at some point along the way. But yeah, basically just lots of reading. That didn't really, there's not very much you can do unless you're going to go do something which is a lot more general, like summer schools and things like that, which I didn't do.
Yeah, I mean, most of mine was reading. I did an EPQ in my second year of sixth form on philosophical theology, which I did with the intention of like applying for Filthy here. So I did that on The New Atheists and Richard Dawkins. That is...
Ooh, you're name dropping.
Yeah, I know.
Name dropping.
But
I mean...
You don't want me to start talking about Richard Dawkins.
I mean...
Great guy.
He is a great guy.
Joking.
No, he's not a great guy,
Please.
sorry. If you...
Oh no, it's going to be on the internet that I don't like Richard Dawkins.
If he so happens to see this video... Okay, so it's evident that we know that Martha and her relationship with Richard Dawkins is questionable.
Let's not talk about this in front of people.
However, do you guys have any other like book recommendations or like recommendations for like reading into philosophy and theology?
I mean, well, because I was very like philosophy heavy in my thingy, personal statement. That's it. So I don't know, maybe some theology if that's what you're going to apply for, because pretty much the only theology on my personal statement was the EPQ. God, I just can't speak.
What is EPQ?
Oh, extended project qualification. I say like I haven't got one. So yeah, it's basically like a mini or dissertation. But mine, basically, after I sent my personal statement off, I realised I didn't want to do an EPQ anymore. But because it was in my personal statement, I have to do it. So maybe bear that in mind, because it was quite a lot of work, because it was basically like doing 4 A-levels and I was doing 3 other essay writing subjects, so it was like 4 essay writing subjects.
Yeah,
which was a bit much for me.
Not fun.
But yeah, books. I read a really weird selection of books.
I read. You got like the short introduction books.
Oh yeah, those are good.
They're good. I recommend reading them for whatever subject you're going to do. What else? I read Free Will by Sam Harris. You know, another one of them cheeky new atheists.
Oh yeah, he was in my personal
But it's not about
statement as well.
atheism. It's about free will, which is interesting. But I think the main part of mine was about The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus. You know, big absurdism. Shout out my absurdists out there.
I read, the only thing I can actually remember reading, like, I read The Symposium by Plato.
As you do.
As you do. And then I read, well, it's one of those, basically there were like a load of like penguin books, and they're like tiny, they're like this big, and they're blue covered. I think
tiny, she says this big.
No, as in that
as
big.
In the front of the book, or
the front of the book, the front of the book, and they're actually like that thick. They're really thin, and I think The Myth of Sisyphus is available as one of those.
I think that's what I sort of got.
And they're like penguin great ideas, and they're really good because they're only like 60 or 70 pages, but they are actually like really prominent philosophical works. Yeah. So that's a good place to start.
If you want something longer, I'd recommend Nausea by Jean-Paul Sartre.
I
It'll really make you sad.
Ooh.
Funnily enough, I also read some Sartre for mine, but I read Existentialism.
Yeah.
You're asking the wrong person.
The word.
Right, sorry, it was coming out of my mouth and I was like, that's not right.
I just thought you tried to pronounce it in a French accent.
Existentialism and Humanism, which was, that was difficult. Like, I don't even think I could read that now very well. I think the thing is that like a lot of philosophy, like you're going to read and you're going to be like, what is this? And that's because that is just the nature of philosophy.
Yeah, but that's why I would recommend Nausea, because Nausea is more of like a novel which talks, which it's not, it's most definitely a philosophical work.
Yeah.
Talking about French existentialism, but the way it's told is through a story.
Yeah.
And that story is something which is very simple but very powerful.
Yeah, I think like that's also why I liked The Symposium, because that's very like narrative-y.
Yeah.
So I think kind of like more narrative books are just more like they're just a good place to start in general.
If you just want to get in, if you want to read philosophy or get into it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for a personal statement or application. They'll probably care for more like highbrow things.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying that as if Sartre isn't highbrow. Yes, it is. But
not to flex, but
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a reading list in a description box. I'll get them to like actually text me or message me what the book titles are and the authors, so that you can read it and take a look for stuff yourself. I'm assuming you can get them easily off Amazon, but if you don't want to purchase from Amazon, look at World of Books, Waterstones, or normal bookstores and check it out from there, or your local library in case you happen to have it.
Send me a DM and I'll send it to you. Don't actually, everyone send it to you.
He won't, he'll never get around to it.
Yeah.
It's not that, I just can't, I'm too far gone in social normaties to know how to post something. So.
Very well. Just,
I learned how to post a letter the other day.
Just all of the things.
Wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth it.
Oh, stop!
Oh my gosh.
Please.
This is what it's like living with philosophy students.
Imagine how it is when you're not around.
When I'm not around.
Yeah. Imagine how insufferable we are.
Yeah. But at least we're not STEM students.
Get out. Anyway, Martha, how... come back, Oliver, please.
I'm just going to stand in the background like you.
Oliver, please come back and sit down.
How long till we leave?
Okay, so about all the stuff to do with your applications, how are you finding your degree in Oxford so far? Like, talk about what you like, what you don't like, what the vibe is, the workload balance, just that general gist. Yeah.
At the moment, second year, I think it's sort of like, it's how I expected first year to be in terms of the workload, because I'm not going to lie to you, like, not about lying. First year was very easy. I don't know about Martha, but in terms of the amount of work we had, it was very little. Like, logic was horrible.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the case that like the things we were actually studying were easy either, but just in terms of the workload compared to now and compared to other subjects. I watched the entirety of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia in the first year. In like the first couple of weeks of Hillary. That's 14 seasons. Because I had 2 contact hours a week that day.
Wow, 2 contact hours?
Please don't, because I worked out how much each of my contact hours costs, and it's embarrassing.
Oh yeah, it's not worth it. Don't do it.
Anyway, what I was the thing is as well.
Especially to end up unemployed.
Please. The thing I was gonna say is that we didn't do prelims because our prelims were cancelled.
What are prelims?
First year exams, end of first year exams, because they cancelled them for us, and so I think that probably made our workload a lot lower because
but they got their A levels cancelled, so I think that's fair.
Yeah. Well, no, because the people who might be watching this might be in year 13, and so now.
That's their problem, then.
And so, be nice. God. Anyway,
I apologise for Ollie's rudeness. Like, if you want sympathy, just look to Martha.
I'm not rude, I'm just salty they didn't do A levels. That was like the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life. A levels is so much harder than uni.
yeah, but finals.
Yeah, but not for you. But you did medicine because you're silly.
Yeah, you are.
You chose to do a real subject.
Yeah, imagine.
Do a STEM subject.
Wow.
I'm just trying to think about things. You know what I'm saying?
That is fair. No, I mean, I think definitely second year is a lot more work. Like, I spend a lot more of my time working and have, like, in Hillary last year, so that's second term, the first year, I had a lot of days off. Like, I had a lot of weekends off. I had a lot of people come and visit. Yeah, I know.
Because I had 2 contact hours in Hillary last year, and they were all on the same day. So I had 6 days where I didn't have anything to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know it's 1 essay a week.
Yeah. So, yeah, pretty much like...
And because we had all of our lectures in Michaelmas. You get all your lectures in Michaelmas if you do philosophy and theology.
Yeah, you do. Oh no, actually I had some lectures in
that's a lot.
Hillary.
Like, one of them contact hours was 1 lecture a week.
Oh yeah.
With like 1 tutorial.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think second year has definitely amped it up. But in terms of like what the actual content is like, I think with philosophy you don't get very much choice. Like it's kind of like for the ethics we had a choice out of 3 modules, and we both chose ethics. And then for next term we had a choice out of 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was out of knowledge and reality.
We get more choice in third year. We get a lot more choice in third year. But just in second year, it's mainly because of the fact that if you do philosophy and theology, there is 1 compulsory paper in the final honour schools, which is philosophy of religion.
Yeah.
Everyone has to do that if you do philosophy and theology.
Yeah.
So that sort of limits your choice. But for theology, there's a lot more choice.
Yeah, for theology, like, it's literally like there is nothing that you're obliged to take. There's just like a list of like, I don't know, 20 or 30 modules that you can just choose to take. So that's why we don't do the same. We don't do the same theology modules at all this year. Because I'm doing Buddhism in time and space, and then Hinduism sources and formations.
And I'm doing Christian moral reasoning and the narrative world of the Hebrew Bible.
I'm assuming like the breakdown of all this is on a website.
Yeah.
So like if people need to, you can just go to the Oxford website and then find like more details about these topics. Yeah.
I mean the website is quite confusing because, and I know that because when I'm what? What?
Is it the same thing? No, it's different.
We're not allowed to say bad things about the university we go to.
You've said what you've wanted to say.
I know
You can say.
Well, it's just not very clear.
The websites are useless.
Well, when I was trying to choose my modules for this year, I found it really difficult to find what modules I could choose. Yeah. So it's a bit unclear. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not very clear. So if it's confusing, okay, there we go. Ollie's being the bold one.
You may need a bit of extra time to navigate through the website.
I found it once, and I found it again.
It is very much that. It is very much that. Like it's like I'm trying to think of an analogy. No, ignore that.
Well, the philosophy student can't think of an analogy. It's not going well for us.
Okay, I'm going to ask a bit more, some more specific questions about like your degree in Oxford Life. If you can you tell me what your favourite thing about your degree is at this moment in time?
I'm gonna be honest, tutorials. Tutorials are actually like really good. Like, because like at this point in like nearly a year and a half into our degrees, it's like I couldn't imagine not having a tutorial. I couldn't imagine not having like that one-to-one, face-to-face conversation about very much what we just spent the last week trying to teach ourselves.
Yeah.
Like they can seem daunting to someone, but once you've done a couple and you become more comfortable with it, it really is something which is like so valuable.
Yeah.
And it's something which I actually do look forward to and do enjoy.
Yeah.
Unless I wrote a bad essay.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to get roasted in real life. I just want to be roasted over text.
Yeah. Sometimes we go to tutorials and we've both written not great essays. Well, or we haven't got great feedback, and so we'll both be stood there like.
Shout out last week.
Yeah, just like.
Well,
God,
no, that was me, not you.
I don't know what feedback I got. No. He said the last third of my essay was.
Yeah, well, you just said my whole thing was a mess.
We've all been there. We
have all been there. It's fine.
I mean, I'm gonna actually sound like a real nerd now.
We go to Oxford. We're all nerds.
Yeah, but I'm not a nerd.
He's a major nerd. Ignore him anyway.
I actually like all of it. Like, I really enjoy just all of it now.
Wow.
Like, first year I was a bit like just going through the motions, and now I'm like, oh yeah, I actually really am enthusiastic about
it's
it.
because like you kind of know what you're doing now.
Yeah.
You know how the structure works. So you
I
can
think
actually
it's great.
take control of it.
I just really enjoy it. Like, yeah, I think it's great. I literally spent all of my time like explaining to people who don't do the subject, like particularly people from home, like what I'm doing, and like basically talking their ear off about ethics and stuff. So
that's fun.
I clearly enjoy it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. I like it.
Amazing. To twist that on its head, what is the worst thing about your degree, other than the website? What's the worst thing, or the thing that you dislike the most?
Not really vibing with the quantity of essays I'm having to write at the moment, because we're doing 12 this term, which is fine. Like 12 is like the standard, but it's like 12 this term, 12 next term, and then 16 in Trinity. And the 16 I'm a bit nervous about. So that isn't really ideal, but like that's pretty much that, I guess.
I think sort of like from that, for me it's not necessarily the amount of essays, but it's just the way that it's the expectation when it comes with them essays. It's like if you've got 2 essays to write in a week, if you've got like near 5,000 words to write, plus reading probably a combined, in some cases, like the theology essay I wrote last week, I read probably close to 300 pages. If that was that, plus like another philosophy essay, that would probably be close to 500 pages of reading, then having to write 5,000 words in a week, which is doable, most definitely doable. But then it's like, you still have to like put in as much, all the time that you have has got to be really dedicated to that, which sounds bad, but you come to uni, it's what you expect. The problem is that you'll have your tutors like speak to you and talk to you with your essay or critique on your essay as if like in their mind you've had like a month to write it.
Yeah.
When in reality you may have only had 2 days.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's times where it's like it can feel really annoying to be like told that an essay is like not up to scratch or doesn't fully cover everything you need to be, or is a bit like feels a bit rushed. I'm like, well, yeah, it kind of has to be. Like one of the pieces of feedback I got in first year was that I should be making multiple plans and spending days in between them to improve the plans of the essays. I'm like, you just don't have time for that. You have time to write one essay, read through it once, and then hand it in.
Yeah.
But they act like you should be taking a month to write an essay, when in fact they really give you 2 days.
Yeah.
And that can be a bit agitating. You just have to get to the point where you're not really fussed, because what really matters at the end of the day is how you perform in final year exams.
Yeah.
Not in your tutorial essays.
That's the same for like most subjects. Even with my essays as well, we do also have limited time to set up the essays. Obviously, you guys do more reading than I do, but I think it's reflected across most subjects that you don't have much time to write up your essays, so that if you were to get like potential critiques on it, you don't have much time to sort of like say that you only had 3 days to do it rather than weeks like other universities do. So the Oxford workload is a lot. in comparison to others. I remember a friend of ours in the corridor was like, they had an external tutor come in for a presentation.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, oh, how long did it take you to do this essay or something?
Yeah.
I thought you guys had like over a month to do it or whatever. And she had like 3 days.
No, she had 2 days.
2 days. She had 2 days to write it up, and that's just a typical thing for like Oxford students.
I think you have to have. I'm not very good at being criticised and stuff, but like you basically have to learn to be, because like you have to learn to just take it on the chin. Like sometimes I'll be going through comments and I'll just get no, and I'm like, yeah, all right then, fair enough. Like it's very much one of those things where I think they're never gonna be like, this is perfect, because that's the whole point.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're a bit brutal, but that does actually help you in the long term. It's just a bit heartbreaking when you're like, oh, didn't write one this week, and then you get it back and it's like, this essay is a mess. It's like,
yeah, I think you guys have already kind of partly answered this next question, but what is the most difficult part of your degree? And I'm assuming it's going to be in relation to the workload and having to sort of keep up with essays and stuff, unless you have an alternative. That's the most difficult part of your degree.
The most difficult part, well, it's like, as I said, it's entirely possible to have all the work, which is given. Like, the workload can be a lot, but it is possible if you actually do it. But that doesn't mean there won't be situations where things come up where you have to really push for time. The most difficult thing is that sort of like when you literally have like 1 day to do all the reading and write an essay. Like, you know, it's kind of difficult to stay up all that night. You have to do it, you know.
yeah,
Doesn't mean it's easy.
Yeah.
You know, it's possible.
yeah.
It's still hard though. That's the difficult part. Is when because you know, it gets to the point where it's like you sort of have to accept that you're not going to write the best essay because you literally have 1 day or 2 days to do like copious amounts of reading.
Yeah.
And then write an essay.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing, I guess, in general here is once you get behind, you're a bit done for. Like, and that's not in like, oh god, everything is terrible way, but it is just like, you know, at the beginning of term I was ahead because I'm always ahead and I'm annoying and everyone hates me for that. But I am now, well, I'm probably now behind because, you know, I just had stuff going on, took a few days off when I probably shouldn't, and so it's then really, really difficult because you can't really rush reading, particularly for philosophy. Like, if you rush the reading, you're just not going to get it, and you're not going to understand it. Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy can only get you so far. So, yeah, I think for me that's the difficult thing, that, like, because our terms are so intense and we don't have reading weeks, it's like you have to push through the whole term.
Yeah.
But it's fine, she says, thinking about the fact she has 2 essays due in on Tuesday.
Retweet.
The next question is, what did you wish you had known before starting to study here?
Collections. I did not know collections were a thing.
What are collections?
I did not know they existed.
What are collections?
Collections are insufferable. Collections are basically mocks that you have to do at the beginning of every term. So yeah, at the beginning of each term you do like mock exam on the module that you've completed the last term. So we'll do a collection in ethics because I don't think either of us would have finished the other module we're doing on the side, so there's no point then. But yeah, which is kind of annoying because I wish I'd known that, because Cambridge don't do collections, but we do collections. And it's just like, they're fine and they actually don't matter. Like, worst comes to worst, you don't do well in it and your tutor's just going to be like,
yeah,
bro. But yeah, it's fine. They're fine,
yes.
But I just wish I'd known that they were a thing.
But the idea of collections is just annoying, but in the long run it would potentially help.
I think it's super helpful for finals.
But it's just not ideal, you know. Just extra work. It's just not the vibe. But yeah, what did you wish you had known?
What, academically?
Yeah, just in relation to your degree, or in general. To be fair, like you can just talk about general Oxford life if need be.
I didn't think posh people existed. They do.
In what way? Because you say we're posh, but I don't think we're the posh that you're referring to.
No, I just mean the jokes that you're the posh, but yeah, they exist.
Yeah.
Oh, like the actual posh people.
Like, if you're not from the south, like you sort of, well, I don't know, maybe even from the south as well, you have the perception of what Oxford's going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
But then you actually think about it, you go, them people don't actually exist.
They do.
They do. They exist.
They do.
Well, you know, have they said that they can't understand me and that I'm speaking another language? Yes. That's all.
Oh my gosh. It's actually, yeah, it's not the one at all. And that's from someone who actually lives in London as well. So I can't really say much into it, but if like Ollie from the north is feeling that disparity and I'm also feeling said disparity, like it's
you know, and that will definitely that can definitely alienate some people. Like someone who could not care what anyone else thinks of me, so you know.
Yeah, I mean, like, because I'm from the south, but I don't think like where I'm from, like, because I'm state school as well and non-selective state school, it's like the same thing. Like,
yeah,
you know, very much like even people from grammar schools, I'm like, oh.
See, I'm from a grammar school, yeah, but like where I'm from is not exact. Oh, thanks. Where I'm actually from is not like.
Oh no, I know,
posh,
no,
yeah.
but even that, like, even like being, like, even the idea of like a selected, in state school, I'm like, whoa, and then the fact that like some people are from like Eton. Like the first time I met someone from Eton, I was like, oh my god, you're real. Like, so yeah, I think I certainly know. So I imagine, like, obviously for you, given that people are sometimes
people
funny.
from grammar schools, that's even crazy in itself, because there's like one grammar school anywhere near where
I literally know no one. Before coming here,
I
I knew no one.
I don't know anyone from grammar school, but I just know I know that there is one grammar school close to where I live.
Yeah.
So, you know, with grammar schools, there's no such thing as private schools where I'm from.
So I have one last question to ask these two.
Mm-hmm.
It's taken a long time to get to this stage.
That's it.
Because y'all be chatting a lot. But that's good, because it means people can benefit from it.
Mm-hmm.
But my last question to you guys is, what advice would you give to those wanting to apply to philosophy and theology, or just philosophy, or just theology, or just Oxford in general? Just advice for them ones out there.
I mean, the biggest thing I would say is that you don't have to be religious to study theology. Like, neither of us are like religious. Neither of us are religious. So I think there is a massive stigma. Like, I used to tell people I do filthy, and they'd be like, "You're gonna become a priest. Like, you don't need to be religious to do it." And it is super interesting from the point of view of someone who isn't religious. So I do think it is a degree that is worthwhile to take a look at, because, you know, I really like theology. It's a really, I like both halves of my degree equally. So, you know, I think don't be put off.
Only apply to Oxford if you're actually really into your subject. I would, like, of course I can't necessarily speak from experience of comparing it to, like, how they say you should only do a PhD if you are, like, literally ready to dedicate your life to something for many years. But compared to other universities, I feel like the level of, like, want to do a certain subject needs to be at a level which most of the universities won't necessarily require. Of course, that'll be reflected within your personal statement, because what they look for and the advice for applying is actually want to do it, and then if you want to do it, then everything will come from that. If you want to do something and you know you can do it, or believe you can do it, then work accordingly and you will get where you need to go, because that's what's most important. It's that potential, and that potential is all about dedication. And that dedication stems from wanting to do it.
Yeah, I think that they really, like, look for the fact that you're into your subject. So, like, I wouldn't just choose something because you're like, oh, you know, that's alright, I wouldn't mind doing it, because like they'd see that in an interview. Like, you do have to be like, however cringe it is, like passionate about your subject. And I think also you have to be passionate as well, because otherwise you're just not going to do the work.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, oh god, I have so much work to do. But I'm like, you know what? It's not that I have to suffer through doing all of my work every single day, otherwise I just physically would not have the energy to do it. So, yeah, I think that is really important.
I think just as a general thing, don't just apply to Oxford only if it's, like, don't just apply because of the title of the uni, because at the end of the day, you may be really obsessed with your subject, but the format of the Oxford sort of system, the layout, can easily sway someone from enjoying the subject because of the amount of work that we get. So, like they said, just make sure you genuinely do care about your degree. Cool. I'm going to call it an end to the video here. Thank you so much to my lovely friends Martha and Ollie for spending their times chatting about Philosophy with you guys. Hopefully you've gained some insight into what it's like to study that degree here, and you have some ideas on what you could potentially do for your own applications if you wanted to apply for any of those subjects. Thank you again, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Au revoir. Cheers.
Good night.
Good night.